today we are going to attempt to answer the question of whether or not I can take that to work. Normally for nearby jobs I might drive and take the X5 or the wagon, and I usually have at least one large Pelican case, case of chemicals in there, maybe a one wheel, my backpack, camera stuff. Will all of that fit in the Luscombe? It won't. Straight up, that Pelican case alone will not fit. So we need to reduce the essence of the Pelican case, see if we can fit it in there. A lot of Pelican case is just air, it's foam. We don't need that. I'm not getting it tossed around by baggage handler, so I'm gonna move whatever I need into this duffel bag, which will fit in the cargo area of the Luscombe. Nice and full. Perfect. Alright, so the cargo area in a Luscombe is behind the back seat. Again, cargo area. It really doesn't carry that much. To access it, you have to pull this forward, which is kind of hard to fit bags in, so this back panel also comes off, which makes it easier to load from the top down. This duffel bag will very easily fit in there. I put all of my liquids in this Pelican case, just so it is leak proof. Soft stuff like towels and tool belt can go on top of that. So there's the duffel bag, there's some onboard oil and tools, liquids back there, tool belt. So cover this up. So then I just add my backpack. It's got more camera stuff. One wheel for getting around the airport. There's a lunch. We are ready to go. On today. Crop dusters, I didn't think they were that big. This thing is huge. The wingspan, bigger than a TBM. It actually has the same engine as a TBM 850 in it. 850 horsepower PT6. It's got a ton of wing surface area as well. This has a single stage paint that's kind of faded. It's actually not that old. The paint's about 200-300 hours old. So we're going to do a paint correction, get the shine back, then we're going to ceramic coat it to protect it so A, the sun doesn't fade the paint back, and B, all the chemicals and cleaners that are used on it don't break down the paint like they have before. So the big issue with cleaning PT6 or any other turboprop exhaust is it's kind of hard to remove and it's not great for the paint. So what happens over time is it causes oxidation of the paint, in addition to things like UV exposure and air. Like paint, unprotected paint will oxidize. As it oxidizes for whatever reason, it becomes more porous, and as it's more porous, all that exhaust traps itself in the paint. So cleaning gets progressively harder and harder and harder, so people use stronger and stronger and stronger chemicals, which further degrades the paint. We're in a vicious cycle of exhaust and cleaning supplies damaging the paint. So we're gonna clean this, then we're gonna seal it. So we're gonna remove the oxidation, then we're gonna seal it, so we have a lot smoother paint, which is gonna make this cleanup a lot easier. My favorite cleaner for PT6 is Release. And for the underside, we can use it as a foam. So we spray it on and let it dwell a little bit. And then you just wipe it up. Sometimes you have to do this multiple times if you have a really thick coat of exhaust, but generally it cuts through pretty well. You can see the front and back color difference. For really dried on bugs, it helps to use a foam as well because it gives you a little bit more dwell time, which allows the bugs to soften up and rehydrate, and then they wipe off a lot easier. If you have a lot of bugs, you may need to do this multiple times. Of course, ceramic coating is going to help in making stuff like this come off a lot easier. So before paint correction, we try and make sure the aircraft is clean, have no bugs. The front half obviously had a lot of bugs, this being an aircraft that is designed to fly very low. So here's a test spot I did. You can see the right side's very shiny, the left side is dull and has specks where a harsh cleaner stained the paint.
This is the pad after just that little spot. You can see the color coming off. We'll talk more about that. So I'm using a pretty aggressive compound and a wool pad on the 21mm Rupes, which is a pretty powerful tool. And we basically abrade that top layer of paint off. So we're removing the oxidized paint. Underneath there's nice fresh paint. Because we are removing material, we want to be mindful of how thick the paint is so we can use a paint thickness gauge and make sure we don't cause any thin spots. Now all that paint that we remove does end up in the pad, and your pad performance goes way down if you have a lot of buildup. So using air or wet washing the pads frequently ensures that you can continue that cutting performance of the pad without generating too much heat or causing marring or haziness. A lot of work had to be done off a ladder because this plane is so big. Here we're using a small 3-inch polisher to get around all the tight spots. And you can see that right half is shining up a lot more, a lot brighter. It's actually yellower. The left side has a bit of a gray tinge to it, as you can see. You can see the right half of the fuselage again is done. It's more yellow.
Look how big this aileron is. Look at that. It's like my whole arm. Then from here to here.
57-foot wingspan on this beast. And it's not just a wide wingspan, also the front to back distance of the wing is also massive. It's probably 8 feet or so. You can see some nice before and afters here as I'm walking or working and talking, but I'm also scheming how I'm going to get this thing coated. How far can I reach off the ladder? See that nice before and after on the bottom right? Now, these are vortex generators. They give the aircraft better low-speed handling. They're kind of a pain to work around. As you can see, the pad doesn't quite fit in there. Very dramatic before and after, but we use a small polisher to get in between those vortex generators to make sure that that is also shiny, like the rest of the plane. There's a nice before and after on the stripes. You can see the top half is polished, bottom half is not. And I had to get pretty creative to reach the parts of the wings where I can't reach off a ladder. Even Joey, who's pretty tall, couldn't reach. So we walk right on the wing spar, which is designed to take a lot of load. Then we use a foam pad to distribute the weight from my knees and my body so we're not denting the paint. And then from there, we just set up a system, work backwards. And now I also know that this is how I'm going to coat it. I'm going to have to work my way backwards when coating to make sure that I don't step on freshly coated wing. So another area that we noticed that was pretty deficient on this big fiberglass tank, this aircraft holds over 500 gallons of liquid, which is like 4,000 pounds. You notice how there's clear coat kind of flaking on the left there, and then it's just bare fiberglass on the right. What it really needs is to be sanded and resprayed in clear coat. That's not something I offer, but by polishing we can make the fiberglass, just the bare fiberglass, more shiny so it blends in more with the clear coat patches. So you can see this little test spot we did here, it turned out really well. Owner was super excited about that, so we'll coat it. The ceramic coating should help keep it shiny. It really does need to be clear coated, but this is a good quick fix. Here's Joey working away on the underside. One of the downsides of being tall is he's the perfect guy for this job. Thank you so much, Joey. Then after all of the paint correction was done, we alcohol wiped the aircraft to get any polishing oils off. This allows us to get a good bond with the coating, and then the coating is applied. So the coating is an oily liquid, it's wiped on, we let it soak into the paint, and then before it cures too much, we wipe it off with microfiber towels to make sure it's level. You can see the coating getting applied here. If you're looking at light reflection, you see how the paint's ending up just a little bit deeper yellow? That's the coating. Most of the cosmetic benefit of what we're doing is from paint correction. The coating just adds a little bit more gloss, a little bit more depth, but more than anything, it adds protection so the paint doesn't fade again to that dull oxidized yellow. That's really the biggest job of the coating. It's going to make the aircraft easier to clean, but more than anything, it's going to protect that paint correction that we worked so hard on so it doesn't turn into a faded yellow mess again. The spinner on this aircraft was pretty bad, to be expected, considering it smashes bugs all day, which are acidic, and then to clean that up, probably using something with a high pH, which is basic, and that just stains aluminum like crazy. So you can see this needs a little bit of work. So I started with a more aggressive step based on the color. This must be Nuvite G6, and I'm actually using a dual action polisher and a foam pad. And by working the G6 a little bit longer, it actually finishes down pretty well. It's not a one-step product, but it does give you pretty good results. After that, I went over a few more spots with C-grade Nuvite, which is a compound, just to like address areas that had a little bit more damage. Then the whole thing got acetone wiped. This is to remove any polish residue. Then went over it with S-grade, which is Nuvite's finishing polish, and that helps get rid of buffing marks and holograms or whatever else and really give you that shiny, deep gloss finish. Now, something new on this airplane, I actually ended up using a little bit of my aluminum coating on there. Keep in mind, this is not available. Don't ask me where you can get it. When it's available, I will let you know. But this coating should provide very durable long-term protection on that spinner, so it's not etched by cleaning or bug impacts, or even like sometimes if someone puts an arm on and they're sweaty, they can etch a spinner as well. So very durable protection for a very hard working part of the airplane. Curious to see how it turns out. So with the spinner coated, the paint coated, this airplane is shiny and protected, and I can't wait to see how it handles everything that's going to get thrown at it, because this is a working plane. All we have left to do is to get it outside and get some beauty shots. Thank you for watching. Big thank you to Joey, by the way, for getting the underside really dialed in. I hope you subscribe. We got more cool videos coming up, and we'll see you at the next one.